wacky things with their kids. You may remember the Johnny Cash song, A Boy Named Sue, where a father named his son Sue because he wanted to make him tough. Actually, a lot of celebrities have given strange names to their kids, so just out of curiosity, I Googled celebrity child names, and I actually found the top 3 weirdest names that celebrities have given their children. Number 3 was Sage Moon Blood. Sylvester Stallone named his son Sage Moon Blood. Go figure. Number 2, Tiger Lily Heavenly Karani was the unfortunate daughter of Paula Yates. And last but not least, Moon Unit was Frank Zappa's unfortunate daughter. And no, that's not a picture of my dad in college. That's Frank Zappa. It used to be that one of the wackiest things you could do with your child was to homeschool them. Because people thought, if you're going to name your child Moon Unit, then you're probably going to end up homeschooling them. But nowadays, it's become more and more popular and is generally accepted by the rest of society. My purpose here tonight is simple. If you're a homeschooler who wants to combat some of the common objections raised concerning homeschooling, then I'm going to give you some basic arguments that can help strengthen your position. If you're a homeschooler who wants to convince that friend or family member to homeschool their kids, then I can give you some basic reasons to homeschool. And lastly, if you're not a homeschooler here tonight, then you probably walked into the wrong meeting. Let's start with some of the homeschool myths. I've been in the business of homeschooling for about 16 years, so I've heard a lot of the myths, objections, legends, lies concerning homeschooling, and I picked 2 to discuss tonight. Number 1 is that homeschoolers lack socialization. You hear that all the time. And number 2, that homeschoolers have an inferior education. Let's start with myth number 1. Homeschoolers lack socialization. So you're going through the grocery store with your kids, and it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Most normal kids are in school. And as you go to the checkup, the cashier very innocently asks, "Oh, there's no school today." And you kind of respond, "Well, no, there is school. We just homeschool." They kind of give you that look. And they may say something like, "Well, my cousins, brothers, sisters, husbands, family, distant, they homeschool their kids." Kind of like they can relate with your situation. And then if they're really bold, they may say, "But what about socialization?" And you kind of blank, because you're not really sure. What about socialization? Let's examine the question first, because it's quite peculiar. It says that a homeschool child is not socialized because they did not see their friends, their own kids from their own age group, every single day at school. Not socialized that way. I would venture to say that age-segregated classrooms teach kids to be herded into small groups where learning is defined by someone else's interests and at someone else's pace. This environment is not similar in any time to their adult life. Once you graduate college, when in the rest of your life are you with people in only your age group? Homeschool students are not only given the opportunity to interact with their own peers in a group, class, or sport, but also to mingle amongst varied age groups. Socialization is one of the key reasons to homeschool. I've always had a love of computers, so when I got a chance to go up to Washington, D.C. and work for my uncle at the computer networking business that he runs, it was an incredible opportunity for me to socialize with other people who were adults that worked in the IT business that I could learn from, also with clients in real-world situations. So I would then say that my experience as a homeschool student was real socialization, and that's why, and one of the reasons, you should homeschool. Myth number 2, that homeschoolers have an inferior education. Let's look at the statistics concerning this topic, because a lot of people think this is true, and when you look at the facts, it's just not supported. A nationwide study, using a random sample of 1,500 families, found home-educated students to be scoring, on average, at or above the 80th percentile in all areas on standardized achievement tests. The national average is the 50th percentile. In the largest research study to date, performed by Dr. Lawrence Rudner on 21,000 students, the average 8th grade homeschool student performed 4 grade levels above the national average. About 10% of the top contestants for the nation's largest scholarships are homeschoolers, even though they make up less than 3% of the student population. But statistics alone do not prove that a homeschool education is not inferior. Homeschoolers have access to any educational opportunity the classroom students have, but their learning is infinitely broad and tailor-made for their interests and learning speed. And that brings me to the second part of my speech, why you should homeschool. Here are 4 reasons. Number 1, the love of learning. Number 2, family identity. Number 3, study what counts. And number 4, unique opportunities for learning. Love of learning. It's been said that if you give a man a fish, you can feed him for a day. If you teach him how to fish, you can feed him for life. The most important attribute that can be passed on to a child is the love for learning. It's also been said that homeschooling is not the filling of a bucket, but the lighting of a spark. 2 things that will encourage a love of learning that are unique to homeschooling are the freedom to learn what is interesting to you and the customization of learning so that you can learn in a way that is best for you. Building a love of learning means that a homeschool education is a launching pad for a lifelong habit. Family identity. The homeschool family is given an opportunity to bond in a very special way. Families participate in the group in shared activities rather than split their agendas between each child. The family unit is strengthened by shared activities while allowing each child an opportunity to explore their own diverse interests. It is an even balance between individuality and team effort. Study what counts. According to the National School Boards Association, every 2 or 3 years, the knowledge base doubles. Satellites around the globe send enough data to 19 million volumes in the Library of Congress every 2 weeks. There will be as much change in the next 3 decades as there was in the last 3 centuries. High school graduates have been exposed to more information than their grandparents were in a lifetime. The accumulation of knowledge is overrated. I've been given the opportunity to study the things that I really love and make it a huge part of my education. This is what counts, and this will provide greater opportunity for my success in the future. Unique opportunities for learning. Homeschooling opens many possibilities for learning. For instance, if you want to combine math skills, life skills, people skills, and business skills, why not start a family business? My business venture started when I was only 3 years old. I made homemade wheat bread for the neighbors and delivered to them fresh out of the oven. Later on, I made money sweeping the front walks of houses in our neighborhood. Our family monopolized early on the candy market, selling bulk candy to neighborhood kids from our front walkway at a markup price. The Candy Corner, as it was called, was a popular spot after school let out. 8 years later, I run my own computer repair business and charge an hourly rate for my services. And my youngest brother has a video editing and slide conversion service. All these things teach not only the skill involved with the business, but also business technique, finances, marketing, and customer service. I've wanted to grow up to be a missionary pilot since I was about 5 years old, and recently joined Civil Air Patrol, an auxiliary of the Air Force. I'm currently enrolled in ground school through that program and will get my pilot's license sometime in late 2007. Community service via 4-H or Boy Scouts, internet classes, and apprenticeship are also unique opportunities for learning. Dual credit classes at a local community college are free to provide a high-level education. So, in summary, I started with addressing some of the common myths concerning homeschooling, and then discussed some of the reasons why you should homeschool. Homeschooling is a wonderful form of education. It provides a unique learning experience for each student. I have found that age barriers aren't an issue, time to learn and study is abundant, families grow very close, and students grow into wonderful adults. As I said when I started, Johnny Cash had that song, A Boy Named Sue, about a father who really seemed to care about his son by naming him Sue. How touching. The only thing he did for him was to give him a weird name. Well, you don't have to name your child Pookie, Budweiser, Louise to prepare them for adulthood. But by homeschooling, you can be used by the Lord to complete what He has already started in each of us. Thanks.